We greet our friends everywhere with Chapter 7 of Thunder on the Heather, the story of John Knox. This is another of the series, Stories of Great Christians, and is brought to you from the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. John Knox, notary priest of the Scottish Roman Church, embraced the doctrines of the reformer George Wishart, who was subsequently burned at the stake at the orders of Cardinal Beaton, who in turn was murdered by Scottish warlords sympathetic to the new Protestant cause. French troops repressed the rebels. John all but renounced his priesthood and was sentenced to serve as slave on a French galley.
We are slipping behind the other galleys. Double speed. Row, man. Or you won't want to rest. Row. Keep your eyes down, John Knox. Do you want to, what do you expect to see on the water? A Scottish ship come to save you? Row!
Your Highness, I am here to relieve you early. It is such a hot day. Why do you bother talking to them?
Perhaps I like the sound of my own voice better than the ceaseless groaning. It is a hot day. I will be glad when we make port. This has been a long voyage for a warship.
Well, as long as the erratic English pursue us, it is not likely that we will see land.
Unless we do battle with them?
True.
Oh, what a mad war. What a mad war. Over a 5-year-old child.
It is a strange world when the fate of a child can hold the destiny of a nation.
But she's not any child. Legally, she is the Queen of the Scots.
Well, England and France know this, huh? And so the war to decide if she is to marry an Englishman and make Scotland Protestant, or marry a Frenchman, as she should, and keep Scotland within the Holy Roman Church.
Her mother is a French and a Catholic. How can there be any doubt that this child will find a husband among the French?
No doubt now.
What do you mean?
I heard at the last port that she has already been taken to France to be brought up as a Catholic and a French woman.
Aha! What do you think of that, my friend the Knox there, huh? Your precious little queen has been sent by the Regent of Scotland to be brought up in the French court. Is that not good news from your country?
Why can you not leave that man alone? He is strange enough. I try to have nothing to do with him. He rows well, that's all.
Every Sunday these animals are permitted to mass, yet he will not participate. Nor will the others who watch him.
What does it matter? Oh, bien, we are passing the other galleys. Regular speed.
He was taken at the siege of St. Andrews last year. What a mess that was for us. And how futile for them.
It would not have been so futile if England had not delayed her help so long. Only a month after the castle fell, the English army invaded Scotland.
Oh, but I think not so much to help the Protestants as from anger that the regent broke promise of an English husband for little Queen Mary and sent her to France.
Well, one thing is sure, my friend. I would not want to live in that country of Scotland. Even though the Roman Church still triumphs there. It is a wild place, full of bloodshed.
Perhaps Scotland would be better than this galley. I will go up to rest.
Can you see where we are, John? We are between Dundee and St. Andrews.
Let me look. I thought I would never see that bonny land again.
You will do more than see it, lad. You will walk about in it.
How can you know that you'll get off the ship alive?
God has not called me to be a martyr, but to live, and to be his spear.
You say that, and yet once you've almost died here.
I'm not used to the labor, but books and ledgers.
We are rowing south, towards England. What do you think this can mean?
I don't know. God knows.
He has forgotten us here.
No.
I heard you say it.
I was ill. The agony said it. Not I.
We will drown. We'll be burned alive if we do battle with the English.
I will not drown or burn. And you are chained to me.
You have seen the flag of truce, Lord Somerset, flying below the fleur-de-lis. And within this truce, you are welcome aboard this galley of His Royal Majesty, King Henry II.
Let us get out about the exchange of prisoners.
As you wish.
This paper reports you have 300 galley slaves. 79 of them are Englishmen, 19 are Scots, taken at the siege of St. Andrews 2 years ago.
Oui, that is correct.
And my ship are 98 French prisoners. England is prepared for the exchange.
Unchange the prisoners. Explain to them that they are free through the clemency and goodness of the King of France.
You have been very kind to me since my release from the galleys, Mr. Holmes. You're a man of God in the gospel. But I cannot take your food and lodgings any longer. I must return to Scotland.
Mr. Knox, you are not strong enough. Please stay longer. Is England such a dreadful place to be?
Oh, to tell you the truth, Mrs. Holmes, England is a revelation to me. I have never been out of Scotland before, you know.
Then stay a while longer. There are many Scots in England now.
The reform movement is making such progress here, Mr. Knox. It would be of great use as a preacher.
But what of my own land north?
Your life would not be spared 1 week in Scotland, Mr. Knox. The Roman party in the government is supreme. The laws against heresy are well enforced. Surely you can do Scotland more good in the cause of the gospel by staying alive in England until you can hope to return safely to your own land.
There are many Scots here, did you say?
There are. Some are preachers, some teach in the schools, many are chaplains to the nobility.
The English church has profited more by the Scottish refugees than by her own clergy. It's not to our credit, Mr. Knox, but it is to yours.
There is a pastorate in Berwick that would be especially suited to you.
Well, that is close to home.
Population is mixed, Scottish and English. You would have close communication with Scotland.
But there are disadvantages in Berwick.
Well, yes.
And what are those?
It is a garrison town. The soldiers do quarrel.
And rob the townspeople, and worse.
Well, you know, the northern towns are less influenced by the Reformation movement. They are out of the mainstream of events and do tend to stick to their old ways.
And they do not yet fear the wrath of God?
Oh, my, no.
Or know of his grace.
I will go.
Call me a fancy Frenchman and I cut your lying tongue out.
Try and do it, and I'll run my sword through your belly.
Yeah, good. Satan, stop your fighting. There will be no more fighting in this generation.
There isn't a drop of French blood in me. Frenchy!
There will be no fighting in this garrison.
Get away, preacher, before you get hurt.
Stop this, I say. Put up your knife, Harry Lang. What kind of men are you when the days of God's wrath and judgment are upon the wickedness of men, and you two are at one another's throats, bringing the curse of Cain upon you? And did Christ appear among men to suffer even the cross, that Berwick might be a town of riot and rebellion? If you're among the elect of God, then come to him and rejoice that you're not lost. And if you come not, then fall on your faces on the earth for fear of what is to come upon you. If you are Christ's, you will show it by lives of peace and purity. And as the gospel is heard in this place, peace and not strife will rule. Now clean the dust off of your uniforms and be soldiers of God, not the devil.
I just had to come to you, Pastor Knox. There is so much on my mind, and I didn't know where I can turn for help.
I'm glad to be of help to you, Mrs. Bowes.
My husband is an influential man, Mr. Knox, being captain of Norham Castle, you know. And it is true that he provides well for me and the children. Oh, but you didn't know the grief it is to live with a Romanist. He will not let me even speak of the Reformation.
There is many a man who begins in such a temper, ma'am, but soon comes to see the truth of the Word of God and it alone.
And my daughters. Oh, I worry so about them. Let me tell you how my husband tries to influence them. And I've asked them time and time again to please not discuss religion with them, but he... Oh, my 4 o'clock. I hope I'm not keeping you from tea.
No.
Oh, I'm so glad. It means so much to me to be able to have your advice. I just didn't know where to turn. But I will do everything you've suggested, and I'll try again to create a sanctuary of peace out of a troubled home. Let's see now. Was I telling you about Christina or Marjorie?
Christina.
Aye. Well, Mr. Knox, she'll not obey me, not at all, her own mother. And try as I will, nothing will change the girl. She's as headstrong as her sister Charlene, who's 15. I expect Charlene will outgrow it, but Christina certainly hasn't.
I'm sure the gospel of Christ will bring order into her life. It's the command of the Word of God that children obey their parents, Mum. You must tell the girl.
Oh, would you talk to her, Mr. Knox? Would you? I'm sure she'd listen to you. And perhaps I could bring some of the other girls along for you to talk to personally.
Well, I will do anything I can to
Oh,
help.
thank you, Mr. Knox. If you only knew, I've tried so hard over the years, but it's been almost too much for me. Well, I guess I must be going. I've taken up so much of your time. But perhaps I might come again to see you.
Of course, ma'am.
And I'll bring some of my girls.
I will be glad to speak to them. How many daughters do you have, Mrs. Bowes?
10.
10.
I guess I can't ask you about your family, can I, Mr. Knox? You aren't married, are you?
And so we conclude Chapter 7 of Thunder on the Heather, the story of John Knox. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and is produced in the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.